far have you gone in school?
Through high school, through 1 year ago.
Are you at the moment under the influence of drugs or alcohol? Is there any reason you'd have difficulty understanding what's happening here today? Do you understand in this case you're entitled to be represented by counsel and that the court would appoint an attorney for you if you qualify financially? Is it your choice to represent yourself? I have a plea on 16252128, and I understand that you're agreed with the Commonwealth to recommend that count 1, malicious destruction of property under 250, be continued without a finding for a period of 6 months. You'd be required to perform 16 hours community service as a sanction, and you stay away from and have no contact with Fabio De Oliveira and the Eagle Painting Office. That you be supervised administratively at $50 per month. There will be a $50 victim witness fee assessed on a one-time basis. Is that what you've agreed to? I'll ask the prosecutor to read the facts of your case. I'd like you to listen to those facts. If any alleged victim would like to be heard, then I'll hear from that person. And I'll then have some questions to ask you. What are the facts?
Yes, Your Honor. Saturday, June 25th, 2016, Officer Barnstable Police Department disposed of Fabio De Oliveira, owner of Eagle Painting. He stated he got a call from a citizen who witnessed some damage to his business sign by running over a motor vehicle. The witness explained to De Oliveira that on Friday, June 24th, he observed the Barnstable Painter operated by John Bommhardt. Before you slow down in the area of southeastern Central near a specific church, swerve off the road enough to run the paper sign over, then drive off at a high rate of speed. The witness was identified as Mr. David Trotto. After that conversation with Mr. De Oliveira, the officer spoke with Mr. Trotto, who relayed the same story that Mr. De Oliveira indicated that he was familiar with John Bommhardt. He was tested positively identified as the operating force.
Did you hear those facts, sir? You're not required to tell me anything about your immigration status. I'm required to tell you that if you are not a citizen of the United States under federal law, your admission to sufficient facts for finding of guilty or your plea of guilty to the crime charged in this complaint could result in your deportation, your exclusion from the United States, or your denial of naturalization. I'm also required to tell you that if you are not a citizen of the United States and the offense to which you're pleading is one which under federal law presumptively mandates your removal from the United States and federal officials will seek that removal, it's inevitable that this disposition would result in your deportation, your exclusion from the United States, and your denial of naturalization. Do you understand that those facts are true? Do you understand that in this case you're entitled to have a trial if you'd like?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you chose to take the case to trial, you could choose either a jury trial or a non-jury trial? If you chose a jury trial, even if you chose to have an attorney or attorneys, to help select the 6 people who would be your jurors, those people would hear the evidence in the case, and then they would all have to agree on your innocence or guilt with respect to the crime charged. If you chose a non-jury trial, then a judge sitting alone would hear the evidence. The judge would decide your innocence or guilt with respect to the crime charged. Do you understand you're giving up your right to either one of those types of trials, in this case, if I accept your claims? If you took the case to trial, no matter which type of trial you chose, you would have the right to question any witnesses called by the prosecution to testify against you, and you'd have the right, if you wanted to introduce evidence of your own. Do you understand you're giving up those rights? At trial, you would be presumed to be innocent of the crime charged, and the Commonwealth would have to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt before you could be convicted of any crime. Do you understand you're giving up that right? At trial, you could not be required to testify against yourself. Do you understand that you're giving up that right? Have you offered this plea of your own free will? Have you had the time that you need to become familiar with what the Commonwealth would have to prove in order for you to be found guilty at trial of the charge of malicious destruction of property under $250? Have you also had the time that you need to understand what's required of you under the plea that you're agreeing to? Do you understand that you're agreeing essentially to a 6-month probationary condition period with some conditions that go along with that? Do you understand that if you fail to follow the conditions to which you're agreeing, that you run the risk of having a continuation without finding vacated, replaced with a guilty, and to be resentenced up to a maximum penalty of 2.5 months in the House of Correction, 3 times the value of the damage to the property as alleged? Do you understand that? Do you have any questions about your plea? Do you need more time to think about it before we continue? Having heard the facts as the Commonwealth present, is there anything about those facts you think needs to be changed or anything added? I find that your plea is made freely, willingly, and intelligently, and I accept it.
15 hours community service ordered. Also stay away and no contact with Fabio De Oliveira, as well as Eagle Painting Company. 4 upstairs situations.